To you, her name is Gerda Weissmann Klein. Please give her a hand.
Gerda was one of only a few survivors of a 3-month, 350-mile death march.
A Holocaust survivor, she was separated from her parents and sent to a series of Nazi labor camps.
I was 15 years old in the autumn of 1939 when World War II started. On a beautiful sunny morning, a Sunday, September 3rd, the world I knew and loved and was a part of was irrevocably destroyed as the Nazi armies took our town in Poland. My family gone, my childhood gone, the love I had known unto then gone. Everything we had was taken from us. We lived in constant fear. I was in the hand of a brutal enemy. We were thrown out of our home. We had to live in the basement. The basement was very cold and very clammy. We didn't have any electric light. We didn't have any running water. The war broke out on the 3rd of September, and my brother and all young men who could be potential leadership or something were taken away right away. My brother was 19. In the morning when he left, he told me to be strong and to take care of our parents. And I remember I stood at the window and I was looking outside, and behind me the house was being emptied of all the things I'd known all my life. And my father came up behind me and he said, "What you are thinking is very wrong." He said, "It's cowardly, it's terrible." And he said, "Promise me that you're never going to do that." And I didn't answer him. And he turned me around to him and he said, "I want your promise right now." And I said, "I promise you." Our mothers were put into another enclosure. This was near the railroad station where the circus used to come as well. And trucks appeared, and my friends, all young girls, and we were loaded on those trucks. And I heard my mother's voice from that enclosure, and she was calling something. And at this point, I realized that I was being taken away from my mother. So I jumped off the truck, and Marin appeared. And he took me bodily and threw me back on the truck, and he said, "You are too young to die." Ilse was a childhood friend of mine. Her mother and my mother were close friends. When the war came, Ilse and I became very close. Together we were sold into the same camp. In the camps we became to each other the only family we had. We started a march known in your history books simply as the Death March. We started that march on the 29th of January with 2,000 girls, and of that enormous number, fewer than 120 survived. Well, unfortunately for Ilse, it was a very bitter end. Ilse died a week before the war was over. She died in my arms. Or as I should say, we went sort of to sleep, and I woke up and she didn't. And exactly a week later, maybe to the very hour of her death, we were liberated.
I met Susie on a train going to camp, and I said, "Wouldn't it be fun when we go back?" And she said, "The war is going to last a long time." And I said, "No, it's going to be less than 6 months." And she said, "I wouldn't bet on it." And I said, "I would." So we made a bet and shook hands on it. And the bet was for a quart of strawberries and a quart of whipped cream to be payable after the war.
And I went out and I found Susie, and she was lying near the pump, and I thought that she had fainted. And I shook her and I said, "Susie, the war is over." And she didn't respond.
But Susie died on Liberation morning.
And that I couldn't even pay my debt of the quart of strawberries and cream that we made 3 years before. I lost the bet. And they came back, and there was an abandoned factory. They locked us into the factory and they attached a time bomb. Suddenly it started to rain. a torrential, magical rain, which resulted into mud. Obviously, the bomb and timer did not connect. View of freedom and liberation came that morning when I stood in this doorway of that abandoned factory. And I saw a car coming down the hill. And the reality of that came when I saw the white star on its hood and not the swastika. There were two men in that car. One jumped out.
I saw a girl standing, and I decided to go walk up to her.
I remember that aura of that awe, of the disbelief in daylight, to really see someone who fought for our freedom, for my ideals. And he looked like God to me. I weighed 68 pounds. My hair was white. I was in rags. I had not had a bath in 3 years. And here was this very handsome young American holding the door open for me. And I said to him, "We are Jewish, you know." And he was wearing dark glasses. I couldn't see his eyes. He said, "So am I." So he held the door open for me and let me precede him. And that was the moment of restoration, of humanity, of humaneness, of dignity, of freedom.
The girl who was my guide made sort of a sweeping gesture over this scene of devastation and said the following words: "Noble be man, merciful and good."
And this first young American of Liberation Day is now my husband. He opened not only the door for me, but the door to my life and my future. I had the great privilege to come to this country, to Buffalo, New York, which became my home. This is where fear changed into cautious security, sorrow into joy, and finally death into life. My first book was published 45 years ago, and I have not stopped writing.
Gerda Klein has helped to advance understanding among all people.